Family Medical Leave Act, an act of Congress designed to protect you and other people who are employed that need to take some time off either for medical purposes or to look after and care for a family member. But what happens if when you take that time off or give notice of an intent to take that time off, your employer fires you? Do you have a right to continue in that job? Well, that takes us to this week's case. It involves a woman who was working for a real estate company. She was selling homes. She had an injured foot. She needed surgery. She gave notice to her employer saying, hey, I'm going to take some time off. She proceeded to make arrangements to take time off, and the next day, after she had given notice of bringing this claim, she gets fired. She gets fired. Boom, that's it. She said, you can't do that. You can't do that. This act provides that I have the right to take time off, and if you fire me because I'm taking some time off, that's illegal. You can't do it under this congressional act. And it went forward in federal court. Expensive proposition, goes forward in federal court. Courts looked at this, went on appeal, but basically the facts as they developed were pretty straightforward. In this instance, she did in fact give notice of wanting to take time off. The next day, she was in fact fired. But what her employer said is the reason she was fired is that the day she gave notice of taking some time off, they got a complaint, which was one of a series of complaints that they had gotten from customers that she wasn't doing her job properly and she was irritating some clients. They said, we'd had enough of this, this had been an ongoing pattern, and therefore you are fired. She said, wait a second, I had brought claim under the Family Medical Leave Act, and you can't just throw me out the door once I brought that claim. Well, the court looked at this and they said, well, you know what? The Family Medical Leave Act is designed to allow people to take time off, no question about that. And if an employer in some way discriminates against an employee for taking time off, well, they can't do that and they can get sanctioned, they can get fined, bad things can happen to them. But in this instance, we find that the employer was acting on information unrelated to the fact that she was taking time off work. It was related to her poor job performance, which was independent and separate from her taking time off from work. Because it was separate and independent, therefore the employer can in fact fire her, and the court sided with the employer. Okay, so that's what happened here. What is the point of this case? The point of this case is there are federal laws that protect you and others, allowing you to take time off for medical leave to look after members of your family and do various other things. The employer cannot fire you if you are taking that time off and if they fire you because you're taking time off. But if you are engaged in some conduct which would give rise to discipline, such as being fired, which is independent of taking time off, well, you can get fired, unfortunately or fortunately. Well, that's how the law works. And we tell you how the law works every week on real cases involving real people so you can understand how to really make the law work for you. I'm David Allen.